Welcome to JMThoughts, a podcast about Football Manager where various people share their thoughts about whatever's on their mind. And today I'm joined by the fantastic Neilosbombeilos. Neil is exactly the type of person that I wanted to get on this podcast because as much as I intend to interview various streamers and YouTubers and things like that, Neil is also one of those people that is a really important part of the community, but in some ways slips through the cracks because of what he does, which is lots of moderation for various people. And also he has a TikTok and he has a blog. He's got little things on the edges, and I just think they're really fun. So I wanted to talk to Neil. He's an interesting chap. Have I missed anything there?
I think you've covered it, yeah. You've actually nailed me. I like to be on the periphery, lurking, you know.
He's a lurker. We're not well, except for when you're blocking various bots on stream. So who are you modding for these days?
It's just the three main Twitch behemoths: Michelino, Pokes, and yourself.
Fantastic. So usually we start these with a save update, but I know for a fact that you've got a lot of saves on the go. So how many saves do you have so far in Football Manager 20? Well, I suppose maybe we won't do it via edition. Maybe we'll do it via... Since the release of FM23, how many saves have you had on the go?
It's with a Swedish one I started. That was going to be my main one. That was going to run from beta that I've only got half a season through. And then I did a tactic test one where I set up as a big team, Real Madrid. And so I just throw every tactic at them just to sort of set them up, because I find it's important to have like your set pieces and everything all ready to go, so you don't have to faff around with it when you're trying to tournament or play games. And then I've just been jumping around. I think I looked at some of your saves when you've been kind enough to share like key points in it. I think Gammy, Game Legend, Jamie, he let me have a season with Brady Blick because they got relegated, so that was really interesting as well. I did Tony Jameson's when he did a split. He's good at giving the key points of his save out as well. I always find it interesting just to dive deeper into other people's worlds. So I took on Linfield. I did a Dundee United one because we were awful this year, and I always start a Dundee United save when we're struggling, which is quite often. Dundee United being my team that I support. There's the network save that we do in Denmark. That's part of the JM community. That's, I think, the main ones that I can think off the top of my head. There's too many. We
had a hot potato save, didn't we? I did a season with Wimbledon. I think one season with Wimbledon, and then handed it around. I think you did the second season of that, and then I think are you doing the fourth season or the fifth?
Well, I'm setting up the pre-season to go, and I'll see if anyone. I'll really like to see if someone would want to have a jump on it. Let's try and encourage people to get involved if they can. Otherwise, I'd quite like to have a go at it because it's quite a fun point as we've got them up now promoted to the championship. So that'd be quite a good challenge, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I really see you as like, you are a bit of a consultant, as you say. You're one of these people that, you know, you test out different tactics, and I know there's been a few points where various people have sent you saves. I feel like you're like the underground version of Zealand's saving saves. It's like the Neilosbombeilos consultancy services, where you send your saves to Neil if you pay him the right price, and he will give you which players are rubbish and really dive into the levels of nerdy detail that I do not have the attention span for.
You're good at other things that I don't like doing, that I don't have the attention for either. So it's still about using our skills on it and merging and learning.
Do you have any thoughts on that? Because Football Manager, as the game has got more and more complicated, I do feel like it's an interesting dynamic because, you know, I joke on stream about you being my assistant manager, but it's because, you know, there are, as you say, things in the game that I enjoy possibly more than you, or I do think I'm quite good at, but there are definitely things that just don't suit me but are still part of the game, and you are better suited to them.
Yeah, it's funny. It's probably because my experience maybe being such an old gentleman, like starting in the Championship Manager 2, I probably got a view of playing the game in a very basic way from the start. And again, the game is still very similar in some aspects. It's just got a lot more fluff to it. so that you can be so much more easily distracted, but you can still use the same principles and be fairly successful in the game, I find, over the many editions.
One of the interesting things I find about you is sometimes when people are, particularly content creators, are getting frustrated, maybe they're in a draft tournament or they're in their own save and they're getting annoyed about something that's happening and they're saying it just doesn't make sense. One of the things that you often put in the chat is, oh, it's because of this reason. And it's something that you've noticed that you think, well, that might be causing this issue, that even really good Football Manager players, maybe because they're streaming or they're distracted or that they're not paying attention to those finer things, you tend to give the game a lot more benefit of the doubt, whereas I think a lot of people tend to jump to, oh, this is just broken, or player is just behaving irrationally, and then you can sort of be like, oh, well, they're behaving irrationally because of this reason, or that's actually because you've done this, which I always find really, really interesting. Do you think that's because you have this long relationship with the game, or is it sort of a personal trait?
It's definitely a bit of both. It's because I think the reason I stay with like yourself, say Llama, Michelini, or Pokes, is you guys you'll take stuff on board and actually try it as well. Where I've been following other content creators or watching them, and I can't get into them because they're either really negative or they're just I don't know. They get caught up in their world or whatever, or they go along with just making excuses rather than putting a hand up. Taking ownership of what's going on. Maybe he's just slowing down and trying to understand it. So I think it's me. And also, I'm a very good do as I say, not as I do kind of guy as well. It's easy to sit on the sidelines and spot things, which I think is a personal trait of mine. I like to see detail if I'm interested in stuff. So
it's always interesting. A second pair of eyes looking at something is going to look at it differently.
Vaccine manager.
What would you say are the 3 or 4 things that you've noticed a lot of content creators doing wrong, or well, not wrong, but when people are getting frustrated with the game, what are the kind of underlying things that aren't obvious? Do you have any of them to your mind now?
You'd correct yourself. Well, I wouldn't say you're doing wrong because like this game, you could play it so many ways. So another thing is there's no right or wrong way. It's kind of like your way. But for me, the most important thing I think I'm trying to learn is to just to have fun with it and enjoy it. And so, like, I'm not very good with negativity personally. It kind of usually sort of shy away from that if you can't turn it into a positive or something. So just about fun, enjoyment, engagement.
Mm-hmm.
And say doing things wrong. That's a good question. I think mostly it's just like players. People get caught up in the players, don't they? Their favourites, and it could just be a few things that doesn't make them suitable for what they're doing, and you just keep picking that same player, making the same mistakes, and then saying why game, why? Blaming the game when that player fails because he can't dribble with the ball and he's been asked to play as a wing back or something silly like that,
Those ones are easy to overlook. I think some of the things I can think that you've raised to me that I've taken on board over the years have been things like a defender will make a really stupid mistake, but it's because they've got really low concentration or they're playing a really high line. So, you've opened themselves up to risk with the tactic that you're playing, or midfielders that have really low tackling and those star ratings are really inflated because, they might be good playmakers, but actually if you've comprised a midfield of 2, 3, 4 players and none of them can tackle, you're going to expose your back line more. Those kinds of things that you don't always immediately identify.
Yeah, I think I didn't know this stuff. I think I've just sort of learnt it as I've gone along, tried to understand it. So if I see something go wrong, you kind of try and break it back down. What's the transition? Is it something? I think I noticed repetitive things. So if it happens again, then it sort of sinks in my mind, and then you try and break it down. Why did he give it away? Why did they lose it? Why are we being attacked? Why aren't we making chances? So try and formulate those questions in my head and then go back and review. The game is the evidence, isn't it? So I think you just built that up, going back, trying things, building up over the years, making many mistakes myself. I'm not a great player, but I think I'm an adaptive player. Hopefully I try and learn and
that is one of the really interesting things that I feel like we've got a community draft called the Jaffa, and you do reasonably well in that. I think you've won it at least once, but your performance is generally of a really consistent standard. It's not like me and Pokes who tend to be propping up the league table. But in terms of your your solo saves for someone who I genuinely think offers some of the best advice in Football Manager. I don't know how to say this without being offensive, but your success is not as prevalent. Like, you're not one of these people that is coming with, oh, I've won this, I've won this, I've won this, I've won this. I think that's partly because you play the game quite slowly, but it's a really interesting thing there that you're almost like you are the perfect assistant manager. But in terms of, I don't know if I'm offending you here, but in terms of your own saves, you're not like the greatest player in the world.
Slam the door. Storm at the press conference. No, this fair point. That's one of the things I enjoyed playing with you guys especially when we did the network save. The original one was learning to play faster.
Yeah.
So that was being prepped beforehand, and then just not worrying about things and not trying to be perfect all the time, but get to there eventually by doing a little bit by little bit, as quick as you can when the time is right. So that was a good thing for me, learning with you guys, like to speed up and not focus on things, or not focus on everything, But yeah, I don't get to play it enough as well, as much, and because I'm quite focused, I'm kind of very old. I can only do one thing at a time, If I'm watching someone, I don't like playing in the game at the same time because I can't focus on the game. I can't focus on who I'm watching, so I like to give my all attention to the game, or say to the content creator, to one or the other. So then, if I'm tired, I don't really want to play. I might just watch someone. So I don't always get all the time to play that I'd love to, And then get into a deep save, and I like starting lower down as well, building stuff, and that always takes time and seasons, which I don't always play. That's probably why I never win too much.
I was ruthless there, wasn't I? I built you up for 10 minutes and then just crashing down.
JM therapy, and he got to build me back up.
Well, we'll build you back up again. So let's build you back up by talking about one of the things that I think is really, really interesting, and it's a project of yours. I mentioned the blog and the TikTok. So you are obsessed, from what I can tell, with goalkeepers. And one thing that you have been successful with is getting goalkeepers to score goals. And I'm sure lots of people would love to hear more about that.
Well, yeah, I've watching content creators, and for quite a few years, I think I caught I'd like to have a go at that. But again, me being me, it was I'd quite like to do something fairly original as well, I didn't see too much of. So I thought if I was going to get into it and have a go, try and find something that's a bit niche that might pique interest if anyone was interested. So I came up with goals, getting a goal scoring goalkeeper. I hadn't seen that. It was something I was sort of aware of in the past. I think I wrote in my blog I used to try and score with goalkeepers in football games when you're bored messing about, Pro Evolution or the very early version out on the Nintendo ISS 64. You could put a goalkeeper in the midfield, and he's so terrible at shooting, he'd loft the ball up. But if you did it in the right position, you could curl it in and beat the keeper, lobbing him every time from the same position. So I had that in the back of my head, I think, where I used to do that when I was younger playing. And then when I read into it, Dundee United had a goalkeeper in the past, a famous one, Hamish McAlpine, and he took a few penalties in a couple of seasons. He scored a few as well, so that was quite interesting. And then there's obviously you got Higgy to Chilavert, all from my sort of growing up period as well. So I think maybe influenced that. With the main one was Rogério Ceni, the Brazilian. So I thought, I'll go for that. And as soon as I came up with the idea and I was developing it, I thought, right, I'll follow this one. I'll find someone when the new game comes out, FM22, and I'll search for it, pick what I think's the best guy at the right level to try and give him a good few seasons to see if he could be the top scorer in history, beat 130 odd goals. And then as soon as the new game came out and I did it, people started putting their goalkeepers up for corners because they're finding they were scoring easy, because it was a bit of a gimme. It's people were stealing my idea before I've even come out with it. Panic, and it kind of put me off starting it straight away. But then I sort of stuck with it. And then there was actually someone else on Twitter that does this as well, so it was good seeing how his approach was. So then started meeting, seeing other things, how other people approached it. And then I just sort of stuck with it then. It was just an enjoyable experience to try and have a go at a blog, because I quite like reading blogs when they're interesting and different as well. And yeah, I took it from there, and so I'm still playing that save slowly, and I'm in the eighth season now, so I'm hoping I can sort of finish the guy's career and see where I can get to with it.
How many goals is he on now?
45, so he's the joint third of all time with a Peruvian, I think he's called Johnny Vegas Fernandez.
Johnny
Some
Vegas.
reason.
Amazing.
That says it in my blog. Whatever I do, I have to beat him. So I feel like I've sort of done. I can relax now and enjoy the final of the save to see what I can get with him.
Amazing. So, what did you look for in a keeper that could score goals?
So initially, I was thinking about free kicks because penalties would be standard, and I was just looking at that, and I was also maybe if he had the physique, if he could come up for the odd corner as well. So looking for a bit of jumping reach and a bit of bravery and decisions. So he's sort of fairly aggressive to attack and that, and a good height generally. So, and then I thought if play it as like a low to medium level, so he would get more opportunities and his stats would help him better, rather than try and do it in like the Premier League, where the keepers are better and defenders are better. So that's why I ended settle up on like a good neutral level, like Norway, second tier. This Norwegian called Stefan Hagerup, and he had really good free kick taking stat, and he even had a trait, I think, taking long range free kicks. I thought, oh, great, that's great. And really, probably if I was going to do it again, I would focus more on penalties because the game just favours people taking penalties. And unfortunately, my version of the game, his random stat came up with 1. It's not, sometimes you can get it higher if you redo it. I didn't realise that. I learned it as I went along, and also that he didn't like pressure in big matches. So again, that's not great to have when you're taking penalties. So he missed a few, and he probably could be up to 60 odd goals now. Plus, if he sort of was better at penalties, and
So,
free kicks don't go in as much, I don't find in the game generally. So I should have focused on the penalties to done better, I think.
well, he scores some beautiful free kicks that are always a pleasure to watch on TikTok. We'll plug this at the end and put it in the link, but it's one of the most satisfying TikToks. I'm not into TikTok massively, but just seeing goalkeepers scoring goals on Football Manager with rock music in the background most of the time, it's a beautiful thing. What is the link to that?
FM Goalie Goals.
Goalie goals on TikTok.
But that's thanks to you. You encouraged me, inspired me to push on with it. You said, I need this in my life. So I'm not sure why you recommended it. So thank you for pushing me in that direction. Like I sometimes need that. I don't always have the motivation or knowledge to do stuff myself. So it was great having someone like you just to suggest it. Because it was just the blog. It was going to be the blog with the odd video showing it on Twitter.
Well, some of us with terrible attention spans, we need the big flashy lights and the TikTok for our ADHD brains. But I have been reading the blog. It is enjoyable. One of the things that I find really interesting about it is your priorities are completely different. So you don't. I mean, you obviously are growing attached to the teams that this goalkeeper is at, but you don't actually care about the team particularly. It's about the goalkeeper scoring goals. So that's led to you doing some strange things. Not only like putting the goalkeeper on penalties when he's terrible at them, which is a fundamental disadvantage for the whole team, but also you've had to follow the goalkeeper to different clubs, and that's obviously presumably been quite a different way to play the game.
Yeah, I hadn't played like that before. Never really done anything like journeymans or anything like that. So it's really good. It was a good way to go outside the box, learn new things as well. So again, I've picked up so many things with this approach, stupid things, little details that might help in a random sort of moment. But so setting up your manager is really important. So when I went to the second club, I didn't set it up right. He was terrible, poor attributes, not great. And the manager couldn't get a win, and he got sacked. So I had to start up another one and made him a bit better. Managed to improve that team, but that held me back. So I probably lost goals going from that. What other things have I learned? Just of course, falling in love with the teams was hard as well, because then I'd waste time setting them up, trying to improve and get them better. And then I'd keep them in the background, so I'd have 2 teams running, maybe try and run it like a director of football, but I'd be wasting the winter breaks or the summer transfers, like trying to help them keep them going.
Doing 3 transfer windows at once.
Yeah, so I had to give that up as well, tell myself to stop. just because I'm a slow player anyway, don't have a lot of time, and then I'm trying to add so many layers to it that I didn't need to. That wasn't part of the story. So although the story says I'm just focused on the keeper, I wasn't. I was getting distracted. I was going off doing silly things, trying to manage things I didn't need to. But so I probably could have got a lot further if I'd been more focused. So I've learned that about myself as well as the game. Things I've learned.
After playing it for so many years, still learning things.
Yes, always learning. This old dog will always learn.
So, Hanger Up, the goalkeeper, what's his trophy cabinet? Does he have you won anything?
So yeah, we won the Norwegian second tier in his second season. Then he said he never wanted to sign for the club again, and that caused my first headache. And then after that, I think we may have won another promotion, and then at his last club, he won the cup last season as well, which was brilliant.
And what was that in Sweden?
Norway, and he got into the Norwegian team of the year as well because his
Amazing.
average rating was so good, even though he's not even a top tier class goalkeeper.
Right, so he's a terrible goalkeeper, but because he's scoring all of these goals, his
leading
average
second
rating is
tier.
all.
Yeah, leading second tier. He's sort of all, if you know what I mean.
But won the Norwegian Cup.
Yeah, we won the cup. Yeah, it was just brilliant. It's like, again, I don't win too many things because I don't play it long enough. I've won the Papa John's with your Wimbledon, and I won the Norwegian Cup, and I'm just so happy. I could not play the game again and retire to take that to bed and be well happy with that.
I think it was about a month, wasn't it? You qualified for the final and you just didn't dare play it.
The life got in the way, and then because it'd been a week or two, then I started procrastinating and panicking about it and really wanting to win it, but not wanting to attempt it in case it didn't go. But yeah, I got there in the end, punched through. I think, again, people like you and maybe other people that follow it, their encouragement was helpful. Like Thunder, he's always a good support with things like that. Stays interested.
Yeah, absolutely.
The solidarity.
No, thank you. Well, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to see someone doing something different and do something in a really interesting way. I think ultimately a lot of what Football Manager community is about just sharing different stories and being enthusiastic about what each other's doing, and that's been a real pleasure to see that, and I hope that and people listening to this, encourages them to try something a bit different, play the game in a way that they haven't thought of playing before, maybe.
Yeah, and mainly just find your way and find a way you can enjoy it. I think I would say you're like a relatively new player to me. I've enjoyed following you from when I first joined on your streams. I think your Newcastle save, that's been great. Just sort of keeping along what you're doing, see what you're up to, and I'm really enjoying that.
Yeah, that was fun. I never thought I would. Yeah, the Newcastle save came at a good time because it was right before the takeover. So it's kind of funny that I did that Newcastle save, and then everyone was doing Newcastle with 3 billion to spend or whatever, and it's like no, I did my Newcastle save. I've done Newcastle.
Been there, done that, trend setting. See,
exactly, trends are way ahead of everyone.
everyone's going to be in Switzerland next year.
Of course.
In 2 years' time, they'll all be doing food clubs, and that, you watch and see.
You wait and see. What are you looking forward to in Football Manager 24?
Just playing slow and maybe winning an odd random cup.
Do you feel like the ability to change the game over is a game changer for you in FM24? That you don't have to, you can play as slow as you like because you can just keep moving that save over.
It could be a curse as well because it might encourage me to play him slower. So we'll see. Yeah, it's a great, because I think people have talked about it for a while. So it's good to being able to offer something along those lines, even if it's just from one save to the next. I think it sort of caters for a bit of everyone there.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting addition. Do you have any parting comments for listeners of the podcast?
Download and subscribe. Yeah, just keep listening, guys. Thanks, appreciate. If you've got any comments, get in touch. It's great when everyone gets involved and shares what they're up to, or just sort of offers support when they comment on our saves and things. It's just, I just love the community. It's quite good fun, the groups that we hang out in.
And I look forward to hearing more of your antics in future, Neil. Before you go, do you want to tell us if people want to read the story of Goalie Goals, where are the places to find it?
So if you follow me on Twitter, it's Neil Bathgate at Dowdy, or you can look at Michelino FM's webpage. The blog's based there. It's a WordPress. Hopefully we'll get the links for you to click on, and also on FM Goalie Goals on TikTok if you're young and like those kind of things.
You make it sound like you're ancient. You're not that old, Neil.
I'm creaking.
Thank you very much, and I'll see you again soon.
This is my last breath. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
I'd just like to confirm that Neil did not, in fact, expire at the end of the podcast, and as far as I'm aware, he is alive and well, alive and kicking. But really appreciated having Neil on the podcast. Really nice guy. He's been a real help over the years to me in learning the game. And do check him out. And I also want to check him out at the end of the show to say, oh my goodness, thank you so much for the reception to episode 1. I did not expect that level of general interest and support. I really do appreciate it. And if you are enjoying the podcast, thank you so much for letting me know. And obviously early days, so it's great if you could leave a review or share it with other people who you think would like it. But honestly, like, just to have some people listening, it's really flattering. So thank you so much. But that is it for today, and hopefully we will be back next week. The aim is to put these out every Friday. Whether that is possible or not, I'm not holding myself to that, but that is the aim. And so yeah, thank you very much, and hopefully I'll hear from you again soon. Or I suppose you'll hear from me again soon. I'll get it right one time. It's only episode 2. Go well, friends.